As we kind of talked about a little bit before in the opening video to the human environment of health, is there's a very strong correlation between humans, an ideal health environment, and time. So if we are very concerned with time, and this generally is the environment of human, we are the ones that worry about time passing and accomplishing things in a certain time and the orientation of how long things take, how fast they should be. And in this way, it is a very human thing to be wrapped around this time element. Now, to put it in order, we have to be able to see, well, if we speed up time, what happens? And if we slow down time, what happens? Is it possible to slow down time? We know that time is very persistent and continues ticking, but is there a way to get more out of a moment that slows down and allows you to enjoy the finer things or the more finite things in a set moment? Now, these are questions that have been kind of answered and played with throughout history, and I'm not bringing any new news to the table, but I'm just highlighting the fact that if we're going to find an environment that's suitable for us to be healthy, we have to have a good outline of how time affects the individual. Now, we can say if we speed up time in the way of accelerating pace, let's say that we're working more hours than our 40 hours. Let's say we skip out on sleep to make sure we get this done. Let's say even we're being performing athletes and we're pushing our bodies to the max, and maybe we're frontline workers right now, and we're being able to give all our care to the people that come into our clinics, offices, and so on. How does this affect us as individuals? This often creates a stress feeling, anxiety, sleepiness, fatigue, tired, laziness, all these kind of things you have to recognize are ways of the body telling you that you are going too fast. This means it's trying to slow you down to allow you to reflect on what changes need to happen. When we persist with this constant effort of moving forward at a pace that is not sustainable by the body, we receive pain, we receive injury, we receive mental breakdowns, we receive um, apathy, we just don't care about things anymore. We reject people, we reject our jobs, we reject our responsibilities. We can go in a style of depression. Why is this? Because the body is trying to save us from heading down a path that's even more destructive, uh, even more quicker than we currently are. We know that the body's whole job in life is to keep us living. So, what measures would it take to make sure that we at least sustain somewhat of a comfortable living if we're ignoring it and continuing to go down this road that's way too fast? In fact, there are tons of examples that we could go through that show that speeding up is not the best. There's tons of examples that show that our culture is moving as fast as it ever has, and that is not a very positive thing because there are very strong moral lessons that we need to learn that cannot happen in a fast pace. This generally would, I would say, contributes to the mental health challenges that we're seeing of lately with children, adults, and aging population all together. And we have not dealt with this amount of mental pressure uh, ever. So we don't have the right strategies to help counteract that. But we have to know what's causing that, which is the speeding up of things, and it's just as easy to slow things down. But we can't be hasty in thinking that just simply deciding to do the opposite is going to correct this situation because they were skills that have been lost over time because we have been speeding up since the, let's say, industrial revolution, keep going speed, speed, speed until now. And since that has been happening, there are certain things, skills, lessons, insights, knowledge, wisdom that we've lost and completely have faded into the history books. And to be able to cultivate these things, we can't just make them come out of nowhere. We have to be able to teach people how to slow down, the skills. What is beneficial about slowing down is good to know, but a fact is just a fact and doesn't necessarily change a person's habits, the things that make them comfortable to do every day. So we have to make a very conscious effort of allowing people to experience what it is, and then after they experience, to help them maintain, and after they maintain, then show them how to hand down this lesson to the younger generation by being able to achieve it in a very solid way. Now, that's if we move too fast. Let's take a quick look at moving too slow. Too slow, um, that would be pretty tricky to do nowadays, but if we were to move slower, I think is the best way to put it, we would start to appreciate the finer details of life, the things in nature, the changing of seasons, the enjoyment of personal relationships, and these kind of things. In fact, I guess we could, in a way, take a look at how COVID has changed our previous reality that things have to happen fast. Now that things are happening a lot slower, we start to really appreciate the time when we were able to have connections with our friends, family, relatives, and be able to communicate and really enjoy their presence. Now, if we never had this break from that, we'd still hang out with them and we'd still enjoy it in a certain sense, but the appreciation isn't there. So we see that we have to have it, lose it, then gain it back, essentially, to be able to have that value and its importance and to put it in the right perspective. Now, in doing that, we have to also realize the very powerful lessons in moving a little bit slowly to do with health. When we move a little bit slower, we can connect with our bodies before it causes pain and discomfort and injury. We can slow down our mind so that it's productive in a way that doesn't have the cost of increased stress. We can slow down again and realize that the resources that we have at our disposal are much wider than what we'd use in, let's say, fast-paced scenario, which we generally just rely on our strongest skills and overuse them, and then we don't really cultivate our personalities to be able to move laterally without heavily doing one thing very specifically. And in that way, we become more ourselves. We become more kind of in tune with what life is, what you should get done in a certain time, and release the pressure of trying to accomplish things at a pace that is not humanly sustainable. And what I mean by that is the pace at which an individual can move and still maintain health. Again, we're not trying to sacrifice health to then work and make a little bit of money or then help other people out and then lose our personal health, and us losing our health is going to impact on all the people that look up to us and want us to be healthy, happy, and all those other kind of positive things. So we have to see in this way the tug of war that speed and slowing down and cultivation of wisdom, understanding, knowledge, experience has to play with creating a sustainable environment of health for the individual. We can say if we were living a culture of sustainable health, then we wouldn't be seeing the challenges that we are seeing in such large amounts in today's society. So this means that there is room for growth and there are things that we can do. We just have to slow down and take our time to figure out a new way of approaching the achievement of health.